Remember when I said these were nerfs? Well, it turns out that I'm a dumbass. Anyways, hey guys, what's up? This is Pants Our Dragon, and today we'll be doing a little video on Soraka and doing a little guide on her. You know, I might as well because I have a little experience with her. You know, just a little. And also in this video, I want to be talking about the so-called nerfs that happened to her in this patch, and kind of telling you why they're buffs. Also, when I mained Soraka back in Season 5, I didn't really do a guide on her, so I think now's a good time, since there's a little hype around her. There's also a different build, so you'll be getting all of that. And so, with all that being said, let's get started. So I just kind of woke up, so my voice might sound a little bit monotone. I don't know what to call it. I think it's called raspy, but don't worry. I think it'll be really good for this video. Anyways, let's talk about why she's so strong right now. So they did remove W's passive, but kind of put it towards Q. In my head, it was less healing, and I didn't like that, so I thought it was a nerf. But thinking about it now, a spell that does damage and healing, and making your Q useful to max out first so you have some damage, is actually pretty useful. And the Rejuve passive, which is also the same thing as her old W's passive, in terms of the amount of healing, can now be applied to your allies. Another reason why I thought it was a nerf was because you couldn't heal as much, since Soraka could heal a lot more if you hit 2 or more people, plus you can heal more when you were lower health. But apparently, that doesn't matter. And also, this was a nerf too, where they reduced the W's heal amount by 40 on each level. That does seem like a big nerf, it honestly did. I'm still wrong. But it turns out, Soraka is more utility now, and heals. Well, you don't really notice the healing kind of gone, but most of her power is shifted into your Q, and finally I'm going to be telling you why Q is so strong right now. So you're going to have a 2-second slow that doesn't rely on you hitting the center anymore. You can hit everyone in that circle and everyone's slowed, so it's more reliable and you have more utility. It's also a 50% slow for 2 seconds at max rank, and that slow can be applied every 5 seconds, reduced to 3 seconds with 40% CDR. And that slow amount is a big number, so it's really good for peeling and kiting. You also gain 50% movement speed to disengage a little bit harder, so you can kite fairly more easily. And now before, Soraka used to cost 70 mana, now it costs 40 mana. Do you know what that means? In lane, you can spam your Q every 5 seconds to get your Frostfang stacks, and to harass the enemy with. Soraka also has really good base damage, as it goes up 40 damage per level. That's actually pretty strong for a support. So now that she does damage, but a little bit less healing, but also having the ability to have a reliable slow, makes her early game really strong. Like, I actually think if left alone in a 2v2 lane with Soraka, and the jungler doesn't come, you'll probably win the lane. And Soraka's mid game is definitely stronger, as she can now reliably slow people with her Q, and she kind of heals people more if she has that rejuvenation passive. If she doesn't, well, she'll heal a little bit less than before, but you don't really seem to notice it too much. Now, talking about some cons about her, Q can be somewhat hard to hit. As the farther range you cast it, the more slower it'll come down. So it is a skill shot and you gotta get used to it. E can be somewhat hard to utilize, but I'll definitely give you some tips later on in this video on how to utilize it. And a little personal pet peeve is R isn't instant cast. So when you're trying to do those global clutch saves with your R, and you wait to the last second, there's a little cast time, and it might be too late to save your ally. So yeah, it's something I gotta work on personally myself. And next up, Ignite counters her rejuvenation passive on herself and allies. Honestly, this should happen in the first place, but I'm not entirely sure if it does cut down the rejuvenation passive by 40%, but I think it is because it is considered self-healing. I'm not sure though. And healing is a little bit less in the laning phase, but it is more if you have the rejuvenation passive in the mid game. And now finally we're going to be talking about the build. So masteries are the same as before, 0, 18, 12, kind of standard for Soraka. Next up is going to be the rune page, where we stack health regen on quints and yellows, and then for reds it's armors, and for blues it is magic resist, since surviving as Soraka is pretty important. And then for the build, it's going to be way different than what you saw before. This time we're going Eye of the Watchers. You could go Frost Queen's Claim, but Soraka is more of a peeling champion, not an engaged champion. And since we're maxing out Q and trying to harass the enemy with it, this is a good way for us to get some Spell Thief stacks. And then some standard stuff, you might notice the Guardian Angel or ZZ Rot portal. I think Guardian Angel is pretty cheese because you want to survive in these teamfights, and you're going to be a primary target for these teamfights. Then you have some situational items like Mikaio's, Seek's Harbinger, and Frozen Heart. You can definitely put them in your build somewhere if you want to mix it up a little. And then for skill order, for the first 4 levels, you would go QW, QE, and then you'd start prioritizing Q over W over E. Now for tips and tricks with Soraka. So even though I'm a level 5 Soraka player, I actually know that my Soraka can be way better if I didn't do like silly mistakes, and luckily I do know what they are, and I'm glad to share with you guys. So tip number 1, don't always overextend for the spell thief stacks. So what I learned is, even though Soraka emphasizes on harassing with her Q now, if she goes too far up or misses the Q, she's actually in some deep shit, and you don't want to be in that deep shit. So don't overextend too much. I know you want those stacks because I want them too, but sometimes it gets me killed. Tip number 2, when a person is going for a last hit, you can shoot your Q. This way, they'll either have to go for the CS and miss it, or get hit by a Q. So they have to make a decision, and it's definitely much more worth for you to hit your Q than for them to get the last hit. Tip number 3, don't build hit point. God, that is the stupidest thing you can do in Soraka, because your W costs maximum % health. So the more health you build, the more health you're gonna lose. And also her rejuvenation passive plus her R are worth less on her, since she will have a lot of hit point. I know you want to have 3000 health and have Warmogs and just spam heal people when you're sieging. That is what the health regen runes are for, and your Q. So yeah, don't build hit point. Trust me, unless you want to have fun. But that's it. Next tip, Soraka lanes always get camped. Wanna know why? Because she has no escapes, and she is fairly squishy. So what most junglers will do is they know that, and they want to kill that bitch. So that's why I do recommend not playing an aggressive style, because you'll definitely get camped. You can play a little aggressive if you know where the enemy jungler is. But otherwise, I definitely recommend playing a little bit passive with her. But you also want to get those spell thief stacks for sure. For our next tip, use your E as follow-up CC. So when someone on your team uses CC, like a root or knockup or something, you can combo that CC and get a reliable root on people with your E, while also silencing them. This is why I really like Soraka, because she can do this and has really good follow-up. But also remember that your E is a silence, so you may want to save it for a target like Katarina or someone who can definitely kill your team with spells. For the next tip, you want to use your E to zone away enemies from chasing you. So remember, your E is a zoning tool, because remember, if they step on it, they will get rooted, and they're also silenced. So try and think about where the enemy will be in about 1.5 seconds. That way they have to be a little bit cautious on approaching you. For the next tip, since your Q slow is more reliable, you can now initiate with flash Q and then chain it with the E. Although, of course, this is really risky and should only be used for picks, it's actually a very useful technique if you want to do it. But definitely, I've seen some use for it. For the next tip, when your AD carry is engaged on, toss your Q in front of the enemy AD carry. This way they're slowed so they can't engage on your AD carry, but if they do have a dash, it can be a little bit more tricky. For the next tip, try and only W when you have the rejuvenation passive, at least in the laning phase, since you'll definitely have more value when you heal somebody, and yeah, it's just more effective. For the next tip, use R when someone is less than 40%. If you guys didn't know, your R actually heals more when someone is below 40%. So yeah, it's really good, just, don't wait till last second because you might not get them healed and they might die. For the next tip, don't auto in team fights. I know you want those spell thief stacks. That's what I want too. But if you're autoing and not repositioning yourself every time you cast a spell or whatever, someone might catch you with your hands down your pants and you might be, well, fucked. And your autos don't really do that much damage, so there's no point in them, right? Might as well just reposition yourself to a better position so you can survive. And finally, for our last tip, sit back, relax, and enjoy the carry from your teammates. Soraka is a champion that you can play while watching Netflix on another monitor. Well, don't actually do it, but she's a fairly easy champion. The only 3 mechanics of Soraka you need to have is positioning, usage of your E, and your Q. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot. In one of my other videos, I asked you guys what champion is your favorite to play in an off-row, and here's some of my favorite comments. For a chance to be featured in a future video, make sure to comment below on what is your thoughts about the Soraka changes. My thoughts are, she's pretty OP. I'm definitely trying to play her more whenever I'm support, and yeah, I just really like her, for OP reasons. And if you did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe for future videos. Also, did you guys know if you YouTube search Game of Thrones naked on YouTube, there's actually naked scenes out there that's uncensored. Yep, I discovered that really recently. Didn't know that existed. But anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I am Panzer Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time. I don't know what to buy, Jeremy. I need, is there any item that gives, a fucking temporary shield? This kind of pisses me off. Oh! I'm going GA.
Oh my god, dude.